the practical aspects as well with faith social services, inshallah. So again, we appreciate everyone being here and citation and reflection, inshallah. Thank you, Sister Maryam, for your dedication, and we appreciate it, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون صدق الله العظيم. So alhamdulillah, I'm so honored and happy to be here at the Adam Center in Leesburg, and I just had a look around, mashallah. It seems like there's a lot of challenges going on, but still I see so much potential, especially how youth-focused the center is. So inshallah, I hope you all will really help build this community, and inshallah, hopefully next time when I'm back, there will be a beautiful masjid built over there, and so jazakumullah khairan, and thank you so much for having me today.
Takbir. 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 Jazakallah khair, Sister Maryam. Thank you very much for the beautiful recitation, mashallah, and also the encouragement for the Adams Leesburg community. We appreciate that so much. And definitely this program about zakah and social services is very important reflection as about giving, obviously from our obligation from the Muslim and Islamic concept, and and then in addition, obviously sadaqah and giving charity is important beyond the zakah, and helping in even in sadaqah jariyah, as mentioned. We're working on Adams Leesburg project, mashallah, on this 5 acres and over 1.6 million for the site work, and we're working on raising 4 to make that happen. And we have an amazing team here in the Adams Leesburg community, brothers and sisters, about building community, doing so many pro park, and there's, as you see, the soccer fields, the basketball fields. It's all about community and youth and family and community service. Actually, a food pantry right where Brother Amir is standing, right nearby. Right, there's a food pantry that the Eagle Scouts put there, mashallah. We're going to work with faith, enhance the food pantry, and take it to the next level, inshallah, in the near future. And so, again, the community, building the community, and helping those in need as we are, working together to help our community and our society, inshallah. So with that, I'm going to introduce our first speaker for this program. And first, I'd like to recognize, Dr. Yaqub, Mirza, and Sterling Charitable Gift Fund, Sterling Management, and Faith Social Services have been strong partners with us for their pioneers. Helped establish Muslim communities in the USA and helped around the world, mashallah. And for Adam's Phase 2, 3, amazing, dedicated, pioneering support and foundational leadership for that, as well as helping us even for Adams Leesburg. We were trying to make sure that we were getting ready for Ramadan and have interim, additional enhancements on the property while building the masjid. And we appreciate Sterling Charitable Gift Fund for the great grant and support that they provided us as well. And so, and Faith Social Services has been a strong partner their endowment helped us build the phase 3, mashallah. We appreciate that so much. And so it's a lot of Dr. Yaqub Mirza, who is a prominent leader with extensive involvement in various sectors, including academia, finance, service. He is founder and president of the Center for Islam in Contemporary World at Shenandoah University and president of the Sterling Management Group. He has a notable background in mergers and acquisitions worldwide, along with over 40 years of experience in stock and portfolio management. He is the author of 5 Pillars of Prosperity, Essentials of Faith-Based Wealth Building, and plays a significant role in several organizations as being a founding trustee and chairperson of Amana Mutual Funds, which is a 3.4 billion with a B billion in assets. Mashallah, it's an Islamic investment fund. Adam's Endowment Fund there, mashallah. He serves on the board of across multiple for-profit and non-profit and academic institutions, and he contributes to various advisory councils around the country and around the world. Dr. Mirza has been recognized with numerous awards for his entrepreneurship and community service efforts. And again, him and his family, Dr. Yaqub Mirza, Dr. Tanveer Mirza, if you can please either raise your hand or stand. Inshallah, we appreciate you and have pioneering leaders in our community, and had the honor to serve with her on the board. Truly appreciate the family. Dr. Yunus Mirza, if you also raise there, he was the past chair of the board, mashallah. And, mashallah, we appreciate the whole family's leadership and dedication. With that, I'm honored to give you and introduce Dr. Yaqub Mirza.
Well, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. It's one of the nice introduction. I'm not sure I deserve all that, but anyway. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm so happy and Ramadan Mubarak that I'm able to talk to you. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I think we will try to make it as interactive as possible. Now, as you may have noticed when Rizwan said, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a Fakhir. I cannot give you a fatwa, and if you and I had different opinion, we'll go to Imam Ahmad and try to clarify that. Why I'm speaking on this topic? This topic is very dear to me. I more read about it, more look at it. It is such a powerful pillar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made a third pillar. That there is so much to be learned. And believe it or not, I feel that we need to interpret Zakat in North American context. What really Zakat means when we live in America or in Canada? We know back home, but what relevance of here? And we sponsored various researches on this topic, but they have not produced something which is to my satisfaction. Satisfaction meaning that that's not exactly what I wanted. So now we have engaged another professor of Islamic studies, a well-known personality, and she's trying to put together a team of experts and scholars who would actually explore what really Zakat means in North American context. And you must be wondering, why everybody knows Zakat, and this is very simple. And that is that, many of us, we just look at 2 categories, poor and the needy, and we stop there. But there are 6 more categories, as we will see. Onward, we give very little focus to it. One of the category is that we lead people from bondage. Now, this brings up a question in my mind. What does that mean? In lobbying, we talk about leaving people from debt. We say, well, I have good news, I have a credit card debt, I'm giving you the card so I can pay off the debt. And even if that happens, that's not very dignified. And to me, what it means is that we need to be involved in the community and be so close to each other that I will know the inside information of my brother or sister and vice versa. And then quietly I'll come and say, okay, I understand you have financial difficulty, and here is my contribution every recipient of zakat. To me, that is direct in contradiction with one of the categories of zakat mentioned in Quran. Now, they had beautiful cars, a lot of money, and they drove it to Saudi Arabia. Once they got there, they did not even have money to buy gas. Now, if I'm going to give them zakat, I say, okay, show me your account, show me your Nigerian card. They don't have it. I mean, they're marginally, they are, their homes, they lost their homes. They are there, they have nothing. So really, there are so many things which come to mind, which I feel very strongly that we need to really research by the scholars, debate it, and come up with solutions which we all can follow. To the subject, Quran, to me, the zakah is so important that it is mentioned 32 times in Quran, along with prayers. So that's what I was trying to mention 32 times the same concept of zakah. So you have a write-up which I wrote many this humble man's approach and an interim solution until we get the real solution, what you have in front of you. These are my opinions, which are approved by the council, but you may have a different opinion, which I respect. So, as I said, in the third pillar, and you can certainly read through the article, and often people ask Professor how much we should give. And he says, they ask how much are we to spend, say, whatever beyond your needs. So that is whatever is beyond our need, we can just give out. It doesn't have to be just zakat, it could be zakat, it could be charity. So we say, when miss is prayer or miss is fast, I'm going to give out this much money. So that's kafara, that's also obligation. Now this standard is not better than what's in the Bible. In the Bible it says if you want to be perfect, Jesus explained, go sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have a treasure in heaven. It's mentioned twice in the Bible, in Matthew. So alhamdulillah, we are Muslims, so we don't have to sell everything and give it out and then hope that we get into heaven. We are given a precise description of what are we supposed to do. So on the second page, you can follow me through. And also, there is a misunderstanding that many people did not feel that we have to pay zakat on our salary which we earn. Most commonly, we know that we pay zakat on investments which have been invested for 1 year. The second part is correct, but the first part is not so. And I've given you reference of Surah Al-Baqarah. It says zakat is due on gross earned income. And there's a lot of discussion. I looked into many tafsir, and the conclusion is that we need to pay zakat on our income every year minus nisab. Now, there's a lot of discussion about nisab. Somebody says it is to, houses of gold. Some say otherwise, but that consensus comes, which I follow. It is minimum living standard, the amount to which you can sustain in 1 year yourself and your family. It is zakat. So, of nisab. Now, we have both, some live in Leesburg, some live in London, the prices are different. So, for practical purposes, I've done electricity poverty level on the US Department of Commerce figures which they publish every year. Now, I don't want Muslims to review about it, what is it. So let's say somebody earns here, family of 4 is 20,000, but remember, subtract 20,000 because that is submitted, that's the size. And the remaining 60,000 is subject to zakat with 2%. And Zakat is due on a rural year. We get our salary on a calendar year. So calendar year is 11 days longer than the lunar year. So I suggest a factor. That is make it 2.5% or 7%, and that will be the amount we spend. So 80,000 times 2.57 will give you the amount of income which we are to pay. And we'll get to calculations in a more, but let me go on to first to cover who are doing the. So Quran specifies by Dr. Zakat, it says poor and the needy. Now poor is poor. The needy is someone who has some money he can actually live on that money. Zakat administrator, people who go out and collect zakat. Now, I don't know any Islamic center which has hard zakat collectors. While Quran allows it, and we should really have people to go out outdoors and get zakat, but somehow it is not done. Those whose hearts are to be solved, anyone you want to bring that person, it could be non-Muslim, and you have that. Captives in bondage, that's what I just talked about. Debtors, people who are under debt. Then wayfarers who have lost their standard, they don't have a place of residence. And Kalafala, which is a very broad category which covers many things. You can have schools, you can have part of mosque, you can have orphanage, you can do many things in the cause of Allah. So that is the category. This is the Surah Tawbah. You can look at it. Now, paying zakat. Zakat is paid yearly, but I suggest that we pay it over a whole year because need is there, and people were happy to get the zakat. And I give you reference from Quran. It says, pay upon the harvest day to do good deeds. And the best deed is one which is done properly. So when we talk about on the harvest day, that is referring to the crop. So if you have a farm and you have a crop, it is on the harvest day, you calculate and you pay the crop 5 or 10%, and we'll discuss that. So this is one thing which Allah encourages us that we should be racing to do a good deed. I mean, we should give our zakat very quickly. So now you will be wondering, well, zakat due after 1 year, how do I do monthly? So I suggest most of us we get W2 or 1099. We look at it, what is our nisab, and calculate zakat and then divide by 4. And give it out each month when you get your check paycheck. They advise that you should write the very first check each month to your favorite charity. They don't say how much, of course they don't want to tell us, and how to who, but that's the way they encourage people. Now why did they say this will make you feel good, and you will be very happy the whole month. So some people they say we pay God, first we pay God, we pay ourselves, and then we save some. So that I believe that you give the guy the monthly basis. Now, if you have overpaid, you have the right to adjust it at the end of the month. If you have underpaid, you calculate and pay at the end of the month. Now, some people like to pay zakat in Ramadan. Sure, you can pay it anytime you like. You can estimate. You can pay zakat in advance as many years like. Let's say there's a calamity. We have situation in Gaza. You want to help those poor orphans and poor people to have food. You can give whole year's zakat to them at any time. You can give them the zakat for next year. It can be paid in advance. Now, once you calculate zakat and you do not pay it out as yet, and you lose it, that becomes a debt on you. And it has to be paid like a debt, because this is an obligation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We could not pay it, therefore it has to be paid. So that's talking about zakat. Then calculating zakat, which is most people know a very simple way. I will talk about a little complicated way, but then I'll try to simplify it so we can have an easy life. I talked about earned income. So any income you earn, which requires hard work, you pay 2.5% after deducting the sum. And you can pay it monthly, you can pay it once a year, and so on. And then we say, if somebody encouraged paying zakat, some deserving person, so much that that person never have to come back and ask for zakat. And then these continues and say, if you cannot do that, then give that person enough for a whole year, that person will have to come back to Adam Center and take on zakat in between the year. And why is that? Because zakat is after 1 year. You have to have investors once a year before you pay zakat. And then this continues to say that if you cannot do that, then give whatever you can. So really, you have all these provisions available. Calculation, and it does these. Salary is very simple. You take on it W2, you take 1099, and you sit down. I usually suggest to do it in January because all our tax documents are here or with us, and you can easily calculate. So pay the debt to Allah first, and then to Uncle Sam. So you calculate it. Let's say $8,000 minus $20,000, $60,000 is subject to zakat, and 2.53% or 7% of that you calculate, and that comes to $400 some, and you just give it out. Now, then you look at all your investments. The house which you live in is accepted. The clothes which you have are accepted, unless you're like me, believe in buying lots of shirts. Then you have to say, well, how many shirts I can use in a year. The rest of the shirts are subject to zakat. Same applied to jewelry. If one sister has 10 sets and she uses only 2 sets during the year, then 8 sets are really investments, and that is subject to zakat to 2.53% or 7%. All right. Then, so that is one category. Then you look at the investments which you have in money mutual funds, in stocks, in lands, rental properties, whatever you may have. But don't buy cryptos. So look at those investments. If the investments are in the money mutual fund, then you are participating in economic development. You are encouraging businesses to grow, and you are doing something with your money. Money is active and helping the community. So we don't pay zakat on the principal, but we pay 10% on the profit which you realize at the end of the year. And then when you sell a money mutual fund, there's appreciation, capital gain, then you pay 10% of the capital gain. So 10% on the dividend, 10% on the capital gain at the end of whenever you sell, take it out and sell it. So the principal is exempted, but the income which comes out is subject to 10%, and I make it a punch factor with a 10.7%. Now, where the 10% comes from? The scholars have compared these 2 percentages or these ratios with the farmland or agricultural land. So they say that if agricultural land, whatever comes out of the ground, that is subject to zakat, but not the land itself. So then there are two categories. One category is that if the farmland is cultivated by water, or you water it yourself manually, then it is subject to 5% of the ground. But the land, if it is cultivated by rain and you don't do much effort, then the crops is subject to 10%. So as you can see, well, bringing the case, when you work hard, you pay 2.5%. Then you have a land, crop comes out on its own 5%. Without on its own, with your effort, 5%. Crop comes out by rain, with less effort, you pay more the crop. And then, if you find oil well in your backyard, or you find gold in your backyard, that is subject to 20% zakat. And so more the effort, less the effort, more the zakat. Because if you find oil well in the backyard, you haven't done anything. It's just you were lucky to occupy that land. So it's more like a fine. Somebody goes there, what about lotto? But it is, and that's a really, that's a similarity. So let's say somebody has a factory. If you want to pay the zakat, whatever factory uses as profit, after paying all the expenses, net profit, you pay 10% of it. If you have a rental property, the same thing. Whatever the rent there is, you take out all the insurance, mortgage payment, whatever, then the difference is subject to 10%. Now the other scholars say their formula is that you pay 2.5% on everything, including the property, factories, or whatever you have. Now, I like a 10% formula, then 2.5%, but one is free to use 2.5%. I like this one. Then you know what has come out of the income of the building, and you have net rental income which you have. Very easy to pay 10% and give it out. But if you have to give a 2.5% on the value of the property, think about it. You have to evaluate the property. You have to see that this value is 100 million, has come to 600. What are the number really? And it's subject to value and judgment. And then if you have a building in some other areas where there's an inflation factor and there's a conversion factor, then you have to deal with the foreign exchange rate. But both ways are accepted, and scholars have presented those ways. So I think that's really what it goes. If you have a stocks, mutual fund, or a stock investment, and where you look at it, you have December 31st valuation, how much money you have, and then you look at it next year, December 31st, your stock would gone up mid-half this year, tremendous growth after November and December. Let's say you had $100 and it became under 15. That's what happened. You take $15,000, 10 or 7% of that, $1,600, you give it out to the rich. Now there are 8 categories. You can pick any category. There is no preference on only on these, to my knowledge. It tells you this is a freedom of choice given to us. You can pick anything you want. I mean, this is a freedom. I asked some scholars, and they said there's no guidance, but some people feel that you should pick 3 categories at least out of 8, and then 3 recipients in each category, meaning that you touch the hearts of 9 people or 9 entities rather than just giving it to one. But as I said, if there's a calamity, there's a flood, there's the need, you can give to that cause this year, next year's, and then just simply adjust it. I think the last part, there's the board calculation table, and it tells you how to calculate it step by step. Fate has taken on itself to implement the concept of the crop, making people stand on their feet. So their motto is that we don't want to just put a band-aid. You need food, I'll give you a charcoal coupon of $10 to go and buy the food. That is not cost of zakah. The cost of zakah is to make people live a decent life. The last thing is just remember, that is, you must be wondering, the purpose of zakah is to eliminate poverty, then why do we have poverty? And I would say that we need to understand zakah, we need to properly calculate it. I don't know. The calculator zakah, they had them in their pocket. They could not find anyone who was deserving of zakah. So I feel that historically it has happened. A book is available, and we can give you some soft copy. Just tell us for you can put it on the web. It's available on the CICW website free of charge, and I would highly recommend that you read and get educated. This is a layman's approach to zakah, and I'll stop here as a question.
Thank you, Dr. Yaqub Mirza. Very much appreciated. Takbir. 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 Thank you very much for the very important, holistic, and knowledgeable, information and context that you provided us on zakah. Very important, very relevant, also, and very practical as well. May Allah bless and reward your leadership and scholarship. We do appreciate it, Dr. Mirza. Inshallah, we're going to maybe take a few questions for Dr. Mirza, and then after that, I'll introduce Faith Social Services, which Dr. Mirza also talked about as well, as a wonderful vehicle to provide charity, and help support through zakah and sadaqah, mashallah. So with that, if there's any questions from the audience, okay, go ahead.
Mirza, I think the question that I have, I'm not sure. Fine. I gotta speak loud. I know that. The question that I have, is it the 10% criteria? Does it apply to 401k, or does it different criteria for a 401k investment?
So, Dr. Mirza, I don't know if you heard that or not. The question was about, does the 10% criteria apply to 401k? Or IRAs, I guess, as well, retirement accounts.
That's a very good question. It was covered in my write-up and more so in the book. So there are two approaches. 401k, you can take the position that it is not in my pocket. I don't have a control over it, and I will pay whatever I take the money out. That's one approach. The second approach is that you do have a control over it. You can take the money out, pay a penalty if you're younger than 59 and a half, and pay tax on it, but you can withdraw that money. So, if you ask me, my feeling is that it's just the which you have as a family, which is put away for retirement purposes, in which the income can grow or the investment can grow free of tax. But it's part of your wealth. So when you write your financial statement and say how rich you are, that you add it, you put it there, and it's part of the investment. So after you look at the 401k each year, which you do something every month, and let's say on December 31st, your 401k is invested in a holiday fund, and you have $400,000. And next year you look at it, it grows to 450. You take out the contributions of that year, which are made, because they are made after paying the cost. Let's say they are 20,000, and the portfolio has yielded over $30,000 during that year. So since the money mutual fund is investment in stocks, you take a risk. You take 10% or 10.7% of that amount and give it out. So your 401k is already paying zakah out of it. So when at retirement, when you take it out, then you don't have to pay zakah on it because it's already zakah has been paid. The other approach would be that you wait until it is in your hands when you retire, and you look at it, the principal amount you contributed is $150,000, but that has grown to $850, and then you have $750 gain. Of course, you don't withdraw the whole thing at one time, and you don't, but technically you can after retirement. Yeah, but you don't. So let's say whatever you take out, if you look at it, let's take 10% as paid. Now, I understand my position is differently, not this one. And the reason is that when you are in retirement age, you are getting more money and you have to pay more. I feel that you pay it on a yearly basis, which is easier, but not upon retirement. And now the other problem with that approach is that once you die, the retirement accounts can be inherited by our heirs, and they can keep it for 5 years, and such so money can grow tax-free. Now the dilemma is that your heirs don't know whether daddy on this money or not. If they haven't written something, that's that on you. So really, I have really just paid every month, but you're free to pay it upon retirement.
Thank you, Dr. Mirza. Thank you very much for the detailed answer there, mashallah, and very thoughtful as well. Very much appreciate that. Great question. Is there another question? Right, brother. All right. Sisters, any questions as well?
Assalamu alaikum. So question is on rental property. Is it due on the rental property or the rent? Zakat.
Dr. Mirza, did you get that on the rental property?
I covered this. It's the rental property or rent. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, rental property or rent. Yeah.
I covered this. If you have rental property, my personal approach is that you look at the net rent which you have received, minus all the expenses, and then when you sell the property, there will be capital gain. You pay 10% of capital gain. The other approach is that you pay on the value of the property whatever rent you have received, 2.57%, which is fine. It leaves me wondering, if the house is not rented, the property is not rented, and you come to the account, how would you pay it? You have to come up with the money from your pocket to pay that.
Thank you, Dr. Mirza. Okay, we'll take maybe one more question from the sisters, inshallah. Right. And then, all right. Thank you, Dr. Mirza. We'll take one more question, and then we'll then introduce Faith Social Services, inshallah. Thank you.
And you intend to use it, do you have to pay zakat on it? If you have.
So if you have money, say that again.
So if you have money or assets, like if you have money and you intend to use it, for instance, like for if you intend to use the money for a payment for something in the near future, to pay zakat on that.
Dr. Mirza, I don't know if you heard that. As far as if you have some assets or money and you intend to use it for an expense.
Yeah, as I mentioned, zakat is due after 1 year. And if you use it within years, you use it. And if you still have it at the end of the year, you pay zakat only on money which is with you, invested or uninvested for 1 year. Otherwise, you don't pay zakat. Let me just add, which I did not cover, and that is if the money is sitting in the bank, that's your asset, and that is subject to 2.5%. if you have a bond, that is subject to 2.5% on the principal as well as on the interest. But if you have the same amount invested in a money mutual fund or stocks which are traded, then you pay 10% of the profit on the principal because you're participating in economic activity. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Yaqub. Mirza, appreciate that. And inshallah, if you have other questions, we can take it at the end as well. Just want to give also, additional information about Faith Social Services, which Dr. Mirza had mentioned, which is again a great, organization that has done amazing work in Northern Virginia, and also we appreciate their leadership. And so, inshallah, I'm going to introduce Brother Fakhir Ahmad. Who will talk a little bit about that. I'll ask him a few questions to highlight, the organization. But again, before introducing him, I just want to recognize the leadership of Faith Social Services as well. Dr. Tanvir Mirza, the president and founder, if you could please stand, and if there's anything you'd like to say before I introduce. But thank you again for your leadership, and Sister Ambreen and your whole family, mashallah, for the great work of Faith Social Services, helping those in need, for multiple decades, starting out with the program Herndon Without Hunger. We appreciate that great program, and working with people of all faiths and working with our government officials to make sure we are having a harmonious society by helping those in need and lifting up in so many ways. So we appreciate that. And inshallah, I'm going to introduce Brother Fakhir Ahmad, who's been sitting here, mashallah. We appreciate him. He currently serves as the Chief Operating Officer of Faith, where his strategic leadership and operational expertise contributes to the organization's success. He has a deep-rooted connection to the Adams community, also from the 80s time frame, mashallah, him and his family, also among those pioneering families of Adams, mashallah. Brother Fakhir has played a pivotal role in nurturing its growth and outreach for faith. His prior experience, he was the Director of Administration of the Adams Compassionate Healthcare Clinic, mashallah. We appreciate his time there as well during his formative years, and with housing. And then I'll ask you some more questions, inshallah. But I know there's so much work you all do. So, shores as well. So if you can kind of cover the housing importance.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you for having me here. One of the less complicated things Dr. Mirza was talking about throughout a lot of percentages, a lot of numbers, zakat, and all those things, 10%, 5%, 15, and 20. The good thing about faith, we take 100% of your donation. That's one of the good things about what we do. We have several programs. We have 13 different programs that are eligible for zakat. Everything that Dr. Mirza said about zakat and giving, we do all of that. So to give you a little bit of a background, Adams was founded 4 years ago by part of the Mirza family and some other families. As the masjid grew, people were attending, people were going to the prayers and doing all these other things. But then when the community grows, we have issues within the family. People who are having problems, they don't know where to turn to. So they go to their state or their local agencies. But through Islam, what zakat does, and what Muslims, we take a little bit extra care of our own people. One of the things that Dr. Mirza had mentioned a while ago was zakat is also giving to help people in need, but also it's dawah work, because we're supposed to support our neighbors. And that's really key and very important, because a lot of neighbors are non-Muslims. But at the same time, if we're supporting them, if you have a neighbor who's struggling and you're supporting them, they're going to say, wow, look at what Muslims are doing. And that's what the zakat is supposed to be doing. So at Faith, as the Adams Center community grew, people started coming to Adams looking for support. Social services, right? Housing, food, shelter, clothing. Adams, as a community, tried to do as best as they could to handle those areas. So after several years of that, the leaders and the founders and the leadership realized that this is a problem. We need to create an organization to do that. And that's where Faith was born, out of the Adams Center community, 25 years ago. And Dr. Tanvir Mirza and Sister Ambreen Ahmad, who is our executive director, have really been pioneering that whole process of how zakat really should be paid out. So there's several programs within this brochure that you'll see. There's 13 areas that we cover. One of the most important ones is housing. We actually have 11 housing units, and these are condos, 2-bedroom to 3 bedrooms, where we cover all the expenses for a family in need. And so what we do is, as we do an intake of that family, we have this whole process. We have a long documentation process. We evaluate the need, we look at their resources, and we look at how we can help them. What is the need? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? And after we assess that and we realize that this is a Zakat eligible family, we put them in our housing unit. So they don't pay for anything. We take care of all the expenses, the maintenance, the furniture, the carpeting, we paint the place, and then we assign one of our caseworkers to manage them throughout the whole process of when they come in all the way to the time that they leave. And that includes training, ESL classes, certification program, a savings account, and most importantly, it's safety. Because if you've ever seen some of the shelters in our community, they're not the best places and not the safest places for individuals, especially if you're female and you have small children. So what we do is we put them in an apartment that are owned or managed by Faith. So we have 11 of those that currently are in process. And again, they're there for anywhere between 6 months to several years until they literally leave and graduate the program. And that whole process takes many years of us checking in on them, their families, and all the needs. And that's where Zakat is coming in terms of housing.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And I know, you all help victims of domestic violence, and very, very important. And so we appreciate that, providing the housing for those in need and those that are victims of domestic violence. And so we appreciate the very important work you all do. As far as and Faith stands for, does anybody know? And none of the board members can say, but does anybody know what Faith stands for? The Foundation for Appropriate and Intermediate Temporary Help. I got it right. So appreciate that work, and obviously it's faith for faithful service, but also the meaning of it specifically has very important meaning. So emergency assistance, right? So the emergency part, if you can talk about that. So people call, they need help at midnight. How are you all dealing with that? Immediate, urgent needs.
So emergency program is our second most. We know families. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. And so people have lots of hardships. We have no idea what's happening. So the people to pay one-time assistance or multiple months of emergency aid. And that's either paying for rent, their medical bills, the utility bills, any other debt that they may have. And again, every single person that Faith helps, we actually interview in person. We don't just give out money over the phone or via email. We meet every single person. We have this whole process in place, making sure that they are Zakat eligible. If not, then they're qualified to get Sadaqah support as well. And so that program is really, again, for hardship, separation, maybe their spouse, and they have no idea which one, where to go or what to do. And this is for males and females. And so we have all kinds of issues that are coming up. For 25 years, we've been dealing with this issue. The problem is some people are actually afraid to go to the masjids because of the privacy issue, okay? They know that they do that. The Faith program, because they have hardship, I don't know what's going on. I see them as regular help, lots of community. We have the staff. We employ 18 people, part-time and full-time. We've been doing this for 25 years. This is our full-time job. The problem is we can't help everybody, right? And so we depend on the grants, supporters like yourself, to sort of pay with your zakat to help support these families. We have turned away a lot of people. We've reduced some of our support to families where someone was getting $500. They could probably get $100 now because of the buckets. We don't have enough funding for that. So again, emergency is number 2, housing is number 1. And the third one I'll just get into is the food pantry. We have a full food pantry that we serve roughly 16,000 servings worth of groceries every single month. And so you don't have to qualify for that program. If someone walks in, Muslim or non-Muslim, and they knock on our door and say, hey, I need some food, we hand them a bag of food, of staple items, oil, sugar, meat, some dairy products. We also have fresh vegetables, which are donated through some of the farms, local farms, and then the grocery store like Whole Foods. So they come in weekly. We fill up our food pantry every Wednesday. We serve them 6 days a week. And by next Wednesday, they're completely empty because we've served so many people.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. No, appreciate that. Definitely important to help in the urgent times, and then the food assistance. I mean, a lot of people, don't realize there's still food insecurity, right? Even though we're the wealthiest nation, the United States in the world. I remember I was doing an interview with Voice of America Indonesia and talking about that we have shelters and everything, and they're like, wait, isn't this America? What's going on? But there is food insecurity, there's poverty levels, there's still many challenges that people face here in the United States because of the high cost of living on top of that. And so, there are many shelters in the area. And so the need for shelters is critical. During the pandemic, there were so many issues for people for food insecurity, as well as housing and cost of living and so forth, and with inflation, etc. Even we still have people underinsured and uninsured. That's why we have the clinic, as well. And so, it's important that we continue to support organizations like Faith Social Services, that we consider them for our, part of our zakah, as well as for sadaqah. And we continue to partner together. Adams is honored to work with Faith for those 25 years. When we were working on the Afghan Refugee Task Force, Faith Social Services was an instrumental partner, and we continue to work together in those areas and coordinate together. And so it is the ecosystem of supporting those in need, helping those in need, and being, very thoughtful about it. As Dr. Yaqub Mirza mentioned, in a holistic fashion, applying our zakah, to help our society, our community, in so many different ways. And Faith is just a wonderful, leading organization in that effort, mashallah. And so with that, just maybe Brother Fakhir, if you can just, any final thoughts as any upcoming events or activities people can participate in with Faith Social Services, how can they volunteer?
So there's several ways. There's a form here which you can sign up for, or just send us an email or call us of how you can support. Really the main way right now, since the pandemic had started, is supporting by your donations. Right? So where it's needed most, allows us to sort of take the dollars and put it in different categories and different buckets based on the need. One of the things I wanted to also mention is the fact that we get requests from all over the country, all over the world. We've gotten them from Turkey, from Egypt, from Pakistan, from India, all over. But we only concentrate on Northern Virginia. And the reason for that is because we have a lot of people who are struggling within this area. We think that everyone has a nice car and a nice home, and they wear nice clothes, but reality is that there's a lot of people who are struggling. As long as they qualify, and we have, a rigorous process, we make sure that we can support them and make them self-sufficient, where they're not needed to come back to us for another year or two, or hopefully they're on their feet where they can manage themselves for many years to come. So we get calls daily, we get emails daily from people looking for support. We've concentrated on Northern Virginia because there is and that includes, the DC, Virginia, Maryland area. Everyone is saying, go to Faith, go to Faith. But because we have the expertise, we've been doing it for 25 years. I myself have been there for 10 years, and I've seen a lot of growth. I've seen a lot of need, but your support is what really counts.
Takbir, takbir, takbir. Alhamdulillah, mashallah. No, we appreciate it very much, Brother Fakhir. Thank you again to Faith Social Services. Is there any questions for Faith? And then we have a few just recognitions we would like to make as well before we conclude. But is there any questions for Faith? Yeah, yes, Dr. Mirza.
Rizwan?
Yes.
If I may add 18 employees, full-time and part-time, the salary of these people is not taken from the funds which you donate. And the for salaries, we have a different source which fund each year. So your dollar in, dollar goes out. We don't feel that your dollar should be used to pay the salary, although Islamically is important, but we set up a determination to maximize the use of your dollars. We want to raise money for the salary separate source. when you come to faith or we have guests coming to the faith and you find lunches, I have told you that please pay from your own pocket. Don't use faith money to is that those people don't have zakat, and we want to use zakat money for entertainment. So we are very careful, zakat money and what it is and how it is used, and that is nothing. One last thing, we have a thrift store, and the thrift store is open, available, it makes money, but that's also available. Thank you so much.
Dr. Mirza, thank you for that additional context, that 100% of your donations will go directly to help those in need. Also, that it's a lower cost thrift store, and then that money, the proceeds, help those in need. It's just a beautiful perpetual good cycle. That's wonderful, mashallah. Thank you for that. Any questions?
Actually, because he mentioned about the money that donations goes for zakah. It's for sadaqah. It's for sadaqah. That's I think people all. I'm always concerned when if I want to send something, and to me, I'm thinking it's for zakah. I want it's something else, not zakah.
No, because on our website there's a category that says zakat, and so those funds go right towards the zakat program accounting for that. Yeah. So everything's separate. It's a very important. And again, 100% of that donation, whatever you donate, if you're donating $100, that goes right into the program. It doesn't cover salaries or overhead.
Thank you for this wonderful presentation, and thank you, Dr. Yaqub. You're always the reference point when it comes to zakat, sadaqah, and how to do the. One quick question with regard to ESA, Educational Saving Account. How do you address it with regard to zakat?
So, ESA, ESA. That's a very good question. Since if children are underage, that's where ESA comes in. You can contribute up to when they are 18 years old, and the money goes tax-free, and they can only use it for educational purposes, which includes buying books and computers and residency and everything else. It depends how you look at it. To me, it is really family wealth. So when you are fortunate, you are head of the household, you look at it, what is our family net assets? Then this becomes part of that net assets. Because it's there, contributed it. Now, you want to exclude that this belongs to the kid and not you. Basically, money is not used because once the kid is 18 years old, they can choose to go for and pay YBW. So you don't have much choice because they're 18 now. So if you treat it that way, then I would say that consider that child on his own and let's see if that child is eligible for paying zakah or not. So meaning that they have nisab, that investment. So really, I usually take the view to give out more than what it is because better to be on the safe side. 10% of the profit or 2.5% is not a lot of money to give out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mirza. You have another question?
Assalamu alaikum. This is Brother Sadullah, and thank you for nice presentations to Dr. Mirza and Brother Fakhir. My question is about zakat money. When we donate, we expect that to be distributed right away. So if we are giving it to faith, and if you're taking 6 months, then are we not violating that zakat law that money has to be given right away?
No, so supporting families, whenever money comes in, money goes out the door right away. We have designated funds that we plan out for people who are doing auto pay or recurring payments. We have certain endowments that are coming in throughout the year. So if your dollars are coming in, they're being spent immediately. Because what we're doing on a month-to-month cycle is looking at the zakat bucket. Okay, we have X amount of dollars. We tell our caseworkers, this is your budget. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And so they're supposed to be spending that every single month. So nothing is actually being held unless it's committed, but those are through the endowment dollars, which are different separate dollars that are coming in from other top donors.
So my question is, I just want to know something about the self-sufficiency program.
Yeah. So the self-sufficiency program basically is taking families, individuals, and making them self-sufficient. So depending on how they come into the program, if they're just needing one-time emergency support, so that's part of the family assistance. But the self-sufficiency program is teaching them, training them, going through. If we had a sister who actually was going through, I believe, a dentistry program, and so we walked her through that program where she enrolled, became certified, and then was able to get a job. So she became self-sufficient over the period of time. So we did that with.
I have a question. If I lend money to my friend, let's say he needs some money, I gave him, like, for example, $1,000. Do I pay zakat on that? Because it's an interest-free loan, he's going to give it back to me whenever he can.
So, Mirza, did you hear that about if you lend money to someone, to a friend, and then they pay it back, interest-free loan? Are you talking about if you're the one loaning it, right? And so
they might pay back after 1 year.
They'll pay back after another year.
Very good question. The loan which you have given is a curriculum. I think it can belong to you. It's part of your assets. And you pay zakah, and just like you have $100 sitting, but it's sitting in somebody else's pocket rather than yourself. Now, if it comes that that person never returned the money, then it's no longer there, so that asset is gone. But if cut asset, you included part of your wealth.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you so much. Inshallah, we're gonna appreciate the questions, Dr. Mirza, Brother Fakhir, Dr. Tanveer, the Faith Social Services, Dr. Yunus Mirza. We appreciate very much the dedication and leadership. Another takbir for them. Takbir, mashallah. Before we close off, we'd like to just, first we're going to invite Faith to one of our Jummahs, and hopefully multiple Jummahs, but that's something that we had previously made the invitation to Faith Social Services to present at our Jummah and have a table so more people can get involved and engage and support Faith. So inshallah, we look forward to that. So Dr. Tanveer, Brother Fakhir, Dr. Yaqub Mirza, inshallah, Faith Social Services will be invited for that, and we look forward to that. Just wanted to, on behalf of Adams Leesburg, I know Dr. Mirza, you're virtual today. I don't know if you can see it from here. You can put it here. This is